She's throwing her life away for a beggar. The words were sharp, dripping with disdain, but I barely heard them over the pounding in my own ears. There I stood, in a simple dress, holding the worn, calloused hand of the man beside me, Liam. To everyone else, he was the poorest man in the city. I could feel the eyes of my disapproving family on me, all asking the same question: why? They saw a spoiled girl throwing a tantrum. They saw a bright future being shackled to a man with absolutely nothing. But they couldn't see what I saw. They didn't see the rainy night 5 years ago, the horrifying screech of tires, or the man who pulled me from a crumpled wreck moments before it exploded. He saved my life and then just vanished. All I had was a name. This marriage? It wasn't a mistake. It was a debt. And I was finally paying it back. Finding Liam again was like chasing a ghost. It took years, but I finally tracked him down to a tiny, run-down apartment on the forgotten side of the city. The hero who saved me was now just another man the world had overlooked. He worked odd jobs, barely scraping by, with a deep weariness in his eyes that I didn't remember from that night. My family was trying to force me into a marriage for business, a union that felt more like a prison sentence. So, I went to Liam with a contract of my own. Forget my family's plans. I would marry him. I had a small trust fund, enough to give us a roof over our heads. In return, I'd be free from my family, and he'd have someone on his side. It was, in my mind, the only fair way to repay a life debt. He was confused, hesitant. I was a stranger he barely remembered saving, but he must have seen the sheer desperation in my eyes, because he agreed. Our wedding day was a quiet, humiliating affair. My mother's tears weren't for joy, but for shame. My father wouldn't even look at Liam. My friends, the same ones who once envied my life, now just pitied me. Elena, you could have had anyone. My best friend, Chloe, whispered, motioning toward her own fiancé, a slick investment banker named Marcus. Why him? He has nothing. I just gave her a sad little smile. They didn't get it. Liam had already given me the only thing that ever truly mattered. That night, sitting in our small, sparse apartment, the weight of everyone's judgment felt crushing. Liam must have sensed it, because he quietly made me a cup of tea. He didn't say much, but he didn't have to. His calm presence was a silent promise that, for the first time, I wasn't facing this alone. Life with Liam was a lesson in humility. The world outside our little apartment was cold. Just as they promised, my family cut me off completely, hoping to starve me into submission. Old friends would literally cross the street to avoid me. The constant rejection was a harsh reminder of how far I'd fallen in their eyes. We juggled the daily struggles of being poor, budgeting every penny, worrying about bills, always feeling one step away from disaster. You'd think that kind of stress would tear a couple apart. For us, it did the exact opposite. The public humiliation was relentless. One afternoon at a small cafe, Chloe's fiancé, Marcus, walked right up to our table. He looked Liam up and down with a sneer. "Still playing house with the charity case, Elena?" he asked, his voice loud enough for the whole cafe to hear. "I'll make you a real offer. Leave this, loser. I'll take care of you." Before I could even think of a response, Liam stood up. He wasn't big or threatening, but a quiet fire burned in his eyes. "She doesn't need you to take care of her," he said, his voice perfectly calm but hard as steel. "She is stronger than you will ever be, and she is my wife. You will show her respect." Marcus, stunned by Liam's unexpected backbone, just scoffed and walked off. In that moment, my gratitude for him started turning into something else, something deeper. I wasn't just looking at a man in worn-out clothes anymore. I was seeing the hero again. Liam's kindness wasn't passive. He would listen for hours whenever the isolation got to me. He started a small garden on our rooftop, and the simple act of watching something grow under his care brought colour back into my world. There were strange little hints of another life. Sometimes he'd take a phone call, and his voice would change. It'd get quiet but firm, like he was giving orders. He'd make a casual comment about our budget that revealed a stunningly deep knowledge of finance. Whenever I'd ask, he'd just smile and say, "I've lived a few different lives." And because I trusted him, I let it go. Our bond, forged in hardship and quiet moments, was becoming more real than the transactional marriage I had planned. The ultimate test arrived as an invitation to the annual Sterling Gala, the city's most exclusive social event, hosted by the mysterious CEO of Sterling Enterprises. Chloe sent it, of course. The note attached was pure venom. "Come see what you've given up." My first instinct was to tear it up, but Liam stopped me. "No," he said, a strange confidence in his eyes. "We're going. Let them see we're not broken." So we went. I wore a simple off-the-rack dress, holding tightly to his hand as we walked in. The whispers started instantly. My parents literally turned their backs on us. Soon enough, Chloe and Marcus sauntered over, their faces masks of fake pity.
"Oh, Elena, you actually came,"
Chloe cooed.
"How brave."
"I suppose even the poor enjoy a night of fantasy," Marcus snickered. "Don't you feel a little out of place, Liam? This is a world you'll never belong to." And then, the music stopped. A man in a sharp suit walked onto the stage. "Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great honor to introduce the man who has quietly revitalized our city's economy and funded countless charities. For the first time publicly, please welcome our CEO, Mr. Liam Sterling." The entire room went dead silent. I turned and stared at Liam. My heart didn't just pound, it stopped. He simply gave me a small, apologetic smile as he walked to the stage. The man they called the poorest in the city was actually the wealthiest and most powerful. He took the microphone, his eyes scanning the crowd of stunned faces until they locked with mine.
"Good evening,"
he began, his voice now filled with the calm authority I'd only heard in glimpses. "For years, I've lived a different life. I needed to see this city from the streets, not a boardroom. I needed to understand the people I wanted to help." He paused, his gaze fixed on me. "But I'm not here tonight to talk about business. I'm here to honor my wife, Elena." He walked right off the stage, came to me, and pulled me to his side. "Everyone here tonight judged her for marrying a poor man," he said, his voice echoing through the silent hall. "But her loyalty, her compassion when she thought I had nothing, it is the greatest show of character I have ever witnessed. She sought out a man she thought was broken, simply to repay a kindness. She didn't want my money. She wanted to give me her heart. That makes her the richest woman I know. You all judged her for marrying the poorest man in the city, but I'm the lucky one. I got to marry the kindest, most noble woman in the world." The looks on the faces of my family, of Chloe, of Marcus, it was a picture of pure, humiliated shock. They hadn't just misjudged Liam, they had exposed just how shallow their own souls were. Our story just goes to show that kindness is worth more than money. And you find out who people really are when they have nothing to gain. What is the kindest thing someone has ever done for you? Share your story in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that prove the heart is our greatest treasure. I started this marriage to repay a debt, but what I found was a love I never could have predicted. Liam later explained that after my accident, he'd grown disgusted with the shallowness of his world. He faked his own downfall to escape it all and find something real. In my simple act of gratitude, he found it. We left the gala that night as a team. Overnight, the city's scorn turned to fawning admiration. But it didn't matter anymore. We had each other. I married a man to repay a debt, but I found a love that was priceless. Liam didn't just save my life in a car crash 5 years ago. His love, his quiet strength, and his unwavering character saved me from a life that had no meaning. And for that, I'll be forever in his debt.